And hello to all my Sagittarius friends. I would like to welcome you in. My name is Scott Sagent, and I'm going to be doing your free psychic tarot reading for July of 2021. Now, this is going to be a very different month because it is a storyline spread, so it's not what we had for you last month whatsoever. That love spread I had for Sagittarius, I thought it was going to be one of the least accurate things I've ever done. At the time of doing it, it didn't make any sense, but it was some of the greatest feedback I've received, so I'm glad it made sense to you guys. Hopefully we're out of all the funky relationship stuff. Today we're doing a storyline spread, so it gives them an opportunity to talk about just about anything they want. We're going to be looking at a couple different stories, 3, 4, even maybe 5 different stories. And the whole idea is to get the broad scatter scope against all Sagittarius. So there's going to be a couple stories that don't make any sense for you. That's fine, they're not for you. There's going to be at least one that's like a home run. It's meant for you. And a couple other ones that'll make sense and you can get the context from, right? So that's what we have in store. And we're going to actually conclude with an animal totem spread. And they want me to do 2 animal totems for you. So we got a lot to work on, Sagittarius. We better get started. So I already have the cards pre-shuffled. I do that ahead of time to save time. What I'm going to do right now is bring you in so you can watch with me. So these are my ritual cuts. This cuts the deck into 3 different pieces, puts it back together in a separate order, and that satisfies the ritual aspect of tarot. Do that with both decks. And then we are ready to go. It's the same process that I use if you were here getting a private reading. So now storyline, Sagittarius July storyline. I just took out the camera there with my hat. Okay, this is all one big story here. Let me see where we cut off. I guess I'll leave it right there. Go into the next one. Oh. Interesting. Okay, this is going to be long. There's the end. We have hit the end. This is all one big story. This relates that this is a standalone. Okay, we're looking at 3 different stories. One is short, obviously. One is kind of medium in length, and one is very, very long. We're about to find out why. Okay, let's go back to the wide angle. There we go. All right, we're going to start with the small story. We will call it story number 1. And we're going to spend the most time on story number 3. That's going to be the big one. The big one. Okay, story number 1. A lot of you Sagittariuses are kind of stuck between a decision. It usually indicates that you have not made up your mind yet on this situation, which is why it's coming up as a choice in 2 different directions. It's actually so I can tell you that either way you're going to be okay. And this card, the way it's presented, is a balance of decisions, of 2 different decisions. And, you know, either way it's going to be all right. There is no one decision that's going to make or break you, especially this one. So whatever is weighing down your mind, really kind of take it lightly. Don't get too deeply into it. They say that you really kind of go to war about this idea or this decision that you have to make. The war card comes up, and it's a war and battle card. So it's saying mentally you're extremely you put all your resources into it and you're extremely depleted and possibly even defeated. In war, there's 2 sides to it, the side that wins and the side that loses. And regardless of that, it doesn't matter, because in war is ugly and there's losses on both sides. So it's a reminder that, the act of war, the act of battle is not fun. So it's not something that we want. Keep that in mind on your decision between your two paths. This is obviously for the Sagittariuses who are, are stuck on a choice between two things. And they obviously feel like one side is better than the other, and I'm telling you that either way, it's really the same choice. That's, of course, this is well, I haven't read the rest yet, but this is probably, this is probably going to be less than half of the Sagittariuses out there. I don't know if it's going to be cover the most ground yet or not. It may. I'm still thinking under half, though. So this is not going to be for everybody. So if this makes no sense to you, just bear with me and wait till I get to the other stories. Back to story one, they're saying all is well. Okay, so this is the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be stuck in this situation with the choice between two things. They want you to choose. They actually don't want me to tell you which way to go or the factors between this and that. They want me to tell you everything's going to be all right, whichever way you end up going with this. All is well. And it's beyond our ability to understand a lot of times, and there is always an underlying order to things. So we don't have to understand it to deal with it on a day-to-day basis. Really just take things a day at a time and do what you feel is best for you in that moment. So that's story number one. Story number two is mostly a work message. I feel like it's mostly related to work, job, enterprise, business, or even areas of study if you're in school or learning a new trade or learning something specific like that. They show that you're moving out of an extremely stagnant period in July. So things have been hung up and not really going very far with your work area, your work environment type thing. But they're saying that there's going to be movement in July. This is moving forward. It's kind of pictured like almost going backwards to go forward. So it's kind of like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's almost like you have to look back in the past. Remember where you came from so that you can go forward. It's kind of like there's a nostalgic aspect to it. I don't know what that is. If that makes sense to you, please write that in the comments. I'm interested to know about that. So with the work thing moving forward out of the stagnation, they say that really to kick this into high gear, you really need to get rid of the clutter. This may be an actual physical thing. It's represented by the death card. I know it sounds terrible, but it's really not in this situation especially. They're saying that just something needs to be undone and gutted and get rid of it. So it may be something like physical, like say cleaning out a closet or doing something like that. Clearing the energy is what it means if it's not physical. So the energetic definition of it is getting the energy completely cleared so that you are on a brand new clean slate with what this work situation is moving towards. It's moving toward, it's actually going to be moving into story number 3. They're going to correlate. Just jumping ahead a little bit here. They say that you're extremely guided in this time. So trust the guidance, trust the signs of the universe. They want you to spiritually use your own sight and trust your own judgment. And by doing so, they're going to illuminate signs for you that help point you in the right direction. So we really want to clear out whatever that clutter is for you. It's going to be different across the Sagittariuses. There's a lot of Sagittariuses in this bubble, in this spread right here. And that's kind of what I don't like about general readings, because I like to be accurate, and personal readings. If that's more your thing, I do offer those on my website, scottsagent.com. And that is, of course, just about you, where we're sharing with everybody. But still, getting the context out of it, you can absolutely do that. And that's the trick to these general readings, is figuring out the context of how it applies to you. That's really the key. Now, when we get into the moon cycles, before I dive into that last story, we have the new moon on July the 10th. That's the perfect time to bring anything new into your life. So this work situation, you're trying to bring something new into it. You know what? Yeah. No, let's go back to story 1 with that one. The new moon, something to bring in. Even though the work thing you can bring in too, that's going to be more full moon energy. You'll understand in a moment. With the new moon energy, it's when you want to bring something in and manifest it into your life, right? So if you have this choice to make between two things. And one of them is going to greatly bring something into your life, because that's kind of what choices are and what they do. The beginning of the month is the best time for that. Doesn't have to be on the 10th, just any time toward the beginning of the month. Use that lunar energy to your benefit. Now, adversely, when we get into the full moon, that's the garbage truck of the universe. That's when you want to get something out of your life that doesn't do you justice anymore, or that we just don't need anymore. Could be physical things, could be emotional baggage, or just about anything. And that happens at the end of the month, July 24th. So this work situation, when they talk about getting rid of the clutter or gutting something, getting rid of something so that this work situation can move forward and progress, the end of the month seems like a good target for that, because that's getting rid of stuff. It's the energy of getting rid of. So keep those moon cycles in mind. Final story, story number 3. This is a real story here. It's all about priorities. There is some work involvement in here. There's a little bit of work and money that they talk about. Really, there's an educational process going on for a lot of you right now. A lot of you Sagittariuses are learning something new. This may be in school, like in a formal way of learning. It may be an informal way. You may be reading a book or watching do-it-yourself things, or learning how to do something just by experimenting. A whole variety. Across the board, it's going to be different for everybody. But they show learning something new this month in July. If you've thought about learning something new and you just haven't pulled the trigger with that yet, haven't done it, you may want to consider July doing that. I mean, it's a perfect window of opportunity. They're showing that the information is available, and it's kind of like they're opening the window so you can, see the information, learn the information, absorb. They show that there are some women who are dealing with kind of some stick fights at work. It's presented as stick fights with work and money. They both come up in this situation, the circumstance. So it's mostly trivial stuff. When I say stick fights, it's like equal level stuff. So it's like you and your partner, or it's like you and your coworker, you and your friend. It's the same level of hierarchy. So it's not like you fighting with your boss, or you are the boss fighting with a lower employee. Like, that's different levels. So it's equal level fights. That would also usually not be with like you and a parent or you and a child, because it's different levels again. So it's the same level, small stick fights, small quarrels happening in July with work or finances come up. Especially for the females, because I do have a queen in there and she is the one holding the money. So I feel like that, first of all, that's what brought me into the money to talk about it to begin with. But it may also be that she is in control of the money or needs to nurture it more. It shows that I feel like you do a pretty good job of nurturing it, but it doesn't mean that you can't improve on it. You can't do things better. And it goes back to what I said about prioritization, prioritizing like what the things that are the most important to do with your money as you move forward. So I feel like a lot of you Sagittariuses may be being a little reckless or a little loose with your finances. So just make sure that you don't go overboard with it. Keep it in check. The final kind of message, if you will, is it's work or perspective related. It's usually like business or enterprise. They show that they want you to just look at the bigger picture right now. Don't look at what's right in front of you. Usually it's the opposite advice that I give, but they're saying for you, they actually want you to look at the big picture right now and not look what's right in front of you. So they want you to kind of peer deep out into the landscape and kind of get the energy of what they're trying to say here. It's a very businessy card. It can even be kind of constricting a little bit. So business might be a little tight in July. You might be a little wrapped up in it. But what they're saying is they want you to look at the bigger picture here. So there's more behind it. There's more for you to understand, and probably rewards down the line. And it's just not something that's going to occur right now in July. It's probably something for later. Timing is such a huge thing with tarot, with numerology. The timing of everything is so key to everything that gets done. So that's what I have for that. We talked about the moons. Let's get into the animal totems. I think I nailed all of this. Story 1, 2, and 3. You know, I'm going to go back and just say that I think this is pretty well distributed. I think we got, by doing these 3 different stories, they may be a pretty equal distribution rate. You can let me know which one you think applies to you. And we'll see what we say about that. But overall, pretty good stuff. A lot of good information that hopefully you can implement positive change into. So real quick, let's do your animal totems. First one is going to be a rhinoceros, rhino. And then this one will be a caribou. Rhino to a caribou. All right. So let's start with the transition. They want you to go from being a little bit more rough and a little more thicker skinned to a little bit smoother. They still want you to kind of be that large animal, kind of be defensive. It's not a predator either. They're both kind of, herding animals. So they want you to still maintain that awareness of being attacked so you don't become prey. Okay, so really still be very cautious and be very aware of your surroundings in July. They just want you to kind of like maybe soften it up a little bit. Don't be so rough. Don't be so rugged. The thick skin, it's not going to do you a whole lot of justice right now from moving rhinoceros into caribou. The environment, hot to cold too. So again, it's like a cooling off. You know, rhinos live in Africa and caribou live up north in the cold, in the Arctic. So really kind of cool things off in July. I would be really careful about your temper too. That's the first thing that pops in my head is like when I say cool off. So really watch the things you say, watch the things you do, especially when you're like emotionally involved with something. May be a good month to bite your tongue. So I hope you guys found these messages well. I do want to tell you about the My Month special that's going on in July. It's a extension from June. It's a personal reading I'm offering absolutely free. It is a private personal reading, so it doesn't share any of this shared energy of Sagittarius bubble that we're working with now. It's specific to you, and it's free. All you got to do is sign up for the email list. It's on the website at the very bottom. You put in your name, your first initial of your last name, your date of birth, and your email address. It could not be any easier. And you send that off within a couple days. I send you back your My Month reading. It's personal, private information specifically for you, and it's incredibly accurate, much more than these could ever be. And there is, in the description of this post, there is a promo video for the My Month. Highly suggest you checking it out. It is phenomenal. It will blow your mind how accurate this is with the reviews and the whole 9 yards. So check that out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you get all the new stuff. You know, exciting things happening every month here, especially now. We're really rocking and rolling now. So I wish you all a happy 4th of July, and I will see you guys in August.